Sleeper has updated their ADPs. So now we have redraft rankings, which means we can start mock drafting. I will say Sleeper's ADPs can be a little bit off, especially this time of year. I've already reached out to support a couple times, had a conversation with them. Not sure if they took my suggestion or not, but have seen some funky ones. So let's see how good of a team we can build and maybe expose some of the current gaps in ADPs. All right, Josh Allen, Jaden Daniels, Justin Jefferson, Lamar Jackson. Okay, so in my opinion, there's a pretty clear-cut tier of 3 at the quarterback position. Obviously, with Superflex, you do want to hammer quarterback early. But to me, I think Jamar Chase is just way too good of a value to pass up, especially in 3 wide receiver formats. You see a couple quarterbacks went right after him, Jalen Hurts, Joe Burrow. Bowers sneaking into the 8th pick. Pretty chalk in terms of the wide receivers they go after. Bijan and Gibbs, St. Brown, Neighbors, Puka. See those in any such order. Also included in that tier, in my opinion, is CeeDee Lamb and Brian Thomas Jr. I still have CeeDee a tick above BTJ as much as I love BTJ. And for me, starting a draft Jamar Chase and CeeDee Lamb, that's about as good as it's going to get from the wide receiver position. Although team 3 with JJ and Nico might have something to say about that. But swinging back around, there are... Oh, Drake London's still on the board. Interesting. Okay, so maybe we hammer 3 wide receivers early. The running back position, Devon Achane, Breece Hall, Bucky, tight end, Trey McBride's already off the board, so don't want to do anything there. A lot of quarterbacks have gone. So looking at the board, I've got Bo Nix, Jordan Love, Kyler Murray, Brock Purdy. I'm not a big Bo Nix fan. I understand if people want to push him up this year. I have no issues with that. He's just not for me. So I'm comfortable with like the Purdy, Kyler, Baker tier. So I'm going to take a shot on a chance that one of those guys will fall to me, just given that a lot of these teams already have quarterbacks. So I'm going to go with Drake London here, who I think, with Michael Penix, obviously we saw that, explosion game, the last game of the year, but with his target volume and his talent, I think he has a good chance to finish, within the top 12 this season. Now swinging back around, we see Jonathan Taylor go, Devon Achane go, Bo Nix and Jordan Love did go. So I think at this point, Kyler is interesting. I'm not a huge Kyler fan, but he's got so much rushing upside, and I do think that Marvin Harrison is going to be used better this year, or at least I hope so. Kyler, you get a little bit more upside, so I'm going to go ahead and have him as my first quarterback here. We see Bucky go, Laporta, Breece Hall, Tet McMillan, Kyron, James Cook, T. Higgins, Josh Jacobs, all great players. Now Purdy is still available. So I could double up on quarterback here, but I just want to call out how ridiculous this is right now that Christian McCaffrey is available in the 5th round. And I think when I did my first mock draft, McCaffrey was taken in the 6th round, which caused me to reach out to Sleeper. So we're going to kind of try to take advantage of these ADPs right now, and hopefully things will get fixed. And the deal with McCaffrey, like there's a chance he's a bust because of injury, or there's a chance he's a league winner. And I understand being hesitant on like the 2nd round, but even in Superflex, like the 5th round is just absolutely absurd. And another absurdity, Derrick Henry here in the 6th round. So I hope you don't turn it off in this point because it's so unrealistic. I'm going to try to toy with, how good of a team we can build given these kind of wild ADPs. Now sticking at the running back position, Chuba I like, Quinshon Judkins, we'll see where he goes. Mixon obviously had a great year. Quarterbacks, Penix, Goff, wide receiver, Jordan Addison, Luther Burden. Jared Goff is definitely the play here. I mean, every year he gets pushed down quite a bit, and then he just finishes top 10. Obviously, with the change at OC, maybe he takes a little bit of a step back, but getting him in the 7th round in Superflex, regardless, just given how well he's played, is pretty fantastic. So looking at the other positions, Chuba's still on the board. At the wide receiver position, Jerry Jeudy, Mike Evans, Jaden Reed, Jalen McMillan. Okay, so Mike Evans and Jalen McMillan being this close to each other is just ridiculous and absurd. So Mike Evans is going to be my flex on a team that has Chase, Lamb, London, CMC and Derrick Henry with Kyler and Jared Goff. So again, sleeper, what are you doing? And I wouldn't normally do this either, but just to make a point, let's double him up with Chris Godwin. Chris Godwin was the top wide receiver before getting hurt last year. He's back with Baker Mayfield this year. With these two guys, like you're looking at, I don't know, insurance. If one of them gets injured, you're looking at a potential gold mine as a trade partner, depth, you name it. It's just too good to pass up. Now, looking back at the wide receivers here, Josh Downs, Michael Pittman, I like both those players a lot. I just think where Anthony Richardson is with his game right now, I don't trust either of them. As much as it pains me to see. Travis Hunter is just the big unknown. Keon Coleman, I really like, but not in front of like Cortland Sutton or Khalil Shakir or, oh, here's one. Devontae Adams. Okay. Sleeper. This is just ridiculous. Maybe I shouldn't even post this video, but we've come so far that let's just keep rolling. More wide receivers that I like here. Running back, I love James Conner. James Conner was a staple on so many of my best ball teams last year. We did a video a few weeks ago talking about the guys that, I couldn't stop drafting in pre-draft best ball this year. And James Conner was, one of those players, as well as probably a couple other guys that we'll talk about here, assuming their value falls. And it's just, with him, when he's on the field, he's a top 10 running back, and obviously injury concern. Like I totally get it, but I'm not necessarily drafting him thinking that he's going to get injured on this already super team. Like I can get some insurance later too. And I've already got CMC and Henry. So yeah, I really like that pick here. Looking at running back still, Ramondre and Najee, okay, he's with the Chargers now. Tony Pollard. I would prefer to see what those teams do in the draft just because it is such a deep class. I still don't have a tight end, so maybe that's on me that I should be selecting one here. I love Jacoby Myers, and normally I would take him here just because he is the most underrated player in fantasy and real life football. And speaking of the episode we did about best ball picks, Jacoby Myers was way up there as well. We did a short on him. Just can't say enough good things about Jacoby. But given the fact that I waited on tight end, but Jonnu Smith, man, like, okay, maybe they could completely change the offense. Maybe it looks wildly different. Maybe he gets cut, not from the team, but like from a fantasy team and just isn't the same. But you can't argue with the fact that the offense was just running through him at the end of the year. And so to have that potential upside while waiting at the position is just, it's too good to pass up. So let's take a look at quarterbacks. We have Kyler, we have Goff. So not, at the upper tier of upside, like the Josh Allen, Caleb Williams, or the Jaden Daniels, Drake May, but we've got two pretty solid pieces, but I definitely want to grab another one. Penix is interesting. I don't push him up as high as some people do. Especially in Dynasty, like people are all over him. I have some hesitations. I liked him over McCarthy and Bo Nix going into last year's draft, but I didn't think that Atlanta was going to take him where they did. Obviously, they knew what they were doing. However, too many question marks there. JJ to Anthony Richardson. You want to talk about question marks? And then some other rookies. Geno was just always down there. Justin Fields, I think here, this is interesting, actually. Maybe I wait at quarterback. Oh my God, Jacoby Myers is still there. I can't believe that. Okay. This is cheating. Jacoby Myers, he doesn't drop passes. He just is always solid. He always is drafted outside wide receiver 50, and he always finishes between wide receiver 24 and 28. You just know what you're getting. And again, in a 3 wide receiver league, like I can always trade him. Man, Juwan Jennings is there too. Jeez. Okay. Looking at the quarterbacks, in the spirit of just making this fun, let's go Justin Fields. I mean, we know what he is when he's on the field. No one expects too much from him as a passer, but with his legs, last year, even with Pittsburgh, he wasn't throwing the ball at all, and he was still playing great before he got benched. So more upside to add to the team. And here too, if this was a normal draft, I might even take a shot on like Anthony Richardson. But given the fact that I only have 3 running backs, running back got thin. Oh my gosh. Okay, maybe I changed my mind. Like, is there anyone hiding down here that I can use? No, that would be reaching. Wide receiver we're so good at. Any tight ends? Oh, poor Ben Sinnott. RIP with Ertz being re-signed. Tavian Sanders, I like. I would expect him to take a step forward. Harold Fannin if Trevor was here. Let's go with Stephon Diggs. We'll see how his injury or how he returns from injury. But, there's a good chance he will be Drake May's number 1. In fact, that would be expected. Just to recap of this draft, 3 wide receiver, half PPR, Superflex league. We are starting out with 3 absolute studs at the wide receiver position. Then we've got Kyler Murray, who has kind of been a disappointment in real life football with his rushing and with Marvin Harrison Jr. hopefully taking a step forward. We know what Trey McBride is as well. Hopefully he can finish top 10 again. CMC, the ultimate boom bust, but in the 5th round is just absurd. Derrick Henry in the 6th is even sillier. Jared Goff, again, just kind of Mr. Consistent. He is what he is. Maybe he takes a step back this year with the change at OC, but again, 7th round, Superflex, sign me up. Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Devontae Adams, that's just awesome. James Conner, again, injury concerns, but he is, top 12 when he's on the field. Jonnu Smith, again, this could fall apart, absolutely, but just given how he finished last year, we're taking a shot on this late. Jacoby Myers, Mr. Consistent, Justin Fields. I hope he can take a step forward as a passer this year. I don't know if it's still in there. The only silver lining is he just has that connection again with Garrett Wilson, but he has not been the passer in the NFL that he was at Ohio State. But we'll see. TBD. And then Steph Diggs, he's probably not going to start the year for you. He's probably going to be on IR to start, but again, someone who can come in and really make a difference. That is the 10-team Superflex draft, first one of the season with Sleeper's updated ADPs. Again, there's some crazy ones in there, so if you don't like the ADPs that Sleeper has, I guess you can reach out to them as well. But thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.